Ali Bakir Khan with another episode of Youth Alumni Association. Today we have Omair Rana with us here. Omair, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I gave a short notice and literally a short.
Oh, that's totally fine. That's the main message is to actually provide the youth with your career journey, knowledge of what you've been doing and all that. So let me just introduce you a little. Obviously, people know a lot about you, but those of you who are new, watching you. So first of all, you're famous for your acting, and you've been doing, you've been an anchor as well, and you are a human excellence consultant as well.
That's right.
On the other hand, you've done BSc in Economics and Management from London School of Economics. And the most interesting part of your career that I would like to share with the audience would be you started your journey as an executive management trainee at PC.
Yes, that's one of the things I've done in life.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and listen from you that apart from that, the collateral that we guys were talking about, on LinkedIn that I've seen, it's really impressive, which means to me particularly that you should never stop. Just keep on moving. But what would you like to, let's go back to the high school version and let's discuss a little bit about your career journey.
True. I personally do not know what my career is or was, so I was never career oriented as such. I was one of those. Like what I was saying earlier to you, that Papa kehte hain bada naam karega.
Omair Khan.
Exactly. So the great Omair Khan.
Yeah.
So I had no clue meri manzil hai kaam. I was never career oriented. I did not know from get go. My brother knew he wanted to become an actuary. He didn't, but he knew at least what discipline he's going to go in. People, Pakistan traditionally know those engineers, lawyers, everything, right?
Yeah.
I did not know what I'm going to do at all. So I just let things happen and I went with the flow. And I was not, and I would always like to go back and tell that high school boy, hey, get to learn yourself a little bit. Spend time with yourself. Jano apne aap. It is very, very, it is crucial. It's not very important. It is essential, it's crucial, you have to do it. You have to be given guidelines and supported how you should discover yourself. And when I say discover yourself, I mean the wholeness of it. Not just academic sense of it, but not even just academic competencies, that you have competencies for this subject or that subject. No, I'm talking about who are you, what are the multiple intelligences that you hold, and I'm referring to Professor Howard's multiple intelligence theory, and I'm a follower of that. And where are they right now, and then discover those things. But baki sare careers and options come after that.
Yeah.
The world's only an oyster once you're in the sea of your own self.
Of course.
So my high school me was just following the flow and getting around. The reason why, which in hindsight has helped me, I've worked in a structural steel manufacturing company in Dubai, worked in the hotel.
Customer representative for Habib.
Client representative.
Yeah.
First job I did after my graduation was client representative for Habib Technologies, software house.
So what did you learn from that particularly? As far as the customer client representative was concerned. The very first day, Omair Rana is there talking to a client. Were you a little bit nervous, or were you
That's
like?
terrible. I've had such a PTSD of sales, especially because of HRTL, Habib Technologies, that I backed off all sales completely for life until I joined SCHEGMA, the Human Excellence group that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
And one of my colleagues said something brilliant. That resonated with me. Shabazz Saab, my colleague, said, sales is not to close a sale. Sales is to create an opportunity where you can help serve people.
Absolutely.
And I love that. For me, that resonated.
Creating opportunities.
Creating opportunities to serve someone. And it's not just a lip service motivational speech for it. It is a genuine faith belief. So if you have that, then yes, then I was able to sell. I was there. But HRTL was a tough one. But I have up times from that. Those were tough times for me, frankly, in career terms.
Okay.
It wasn't fulfilling. It was just base salary. I was earning more prior to that as a debates coach, and it was long hours. What got me through one was we introduced Project Management Institute, PMI, to Pakistan.
Okay.
And I became the channel investor for that.
Right.
I love that. Two, I had some very good colleagues, and some of them were lifetime friends.
Okay.
My CEO, then Majid Maqbool Sahib, Harun, Salman, these are great friends that I made. Three, I learned from the struggles, the misery of it. Four, it helped my in-laws answer that ultimate question, ki munda karda ki?
करदा की है.
So they were
Lahori, typical Lahori
Typical,
question.
because it doesn't matter how good or bad values you hold.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do to put bread on the table? So that helped, and I got
Of
that
course.
as well. And 5, what got me through was I had a very nice routine. I used to wake up 6 in the morning, earlier, and I'd go play squash with my friend in Omair Rana. And then I come back, bathe, have breakfast, and go to work. And around 8 to it was 8 to 6, or was it 9 to 6, I'd be working, 9 to 6 hours of the day.
Okay.
7 o'clock, I'd often go to a rehearsal. And I'd do these big plays like we did Noises of Kiya Tha Humne, I don't remember. We did.
There was a list of 23.
Yeah.
It's written in your independent actor journey as well.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
people
so
want to
we-
actually
yeah.
see, you can go to Omair Rana's LinkedIn profile. That's the best way to go ahead and search a lot. Apart from that, obviously he has a Wikipedia page, so we don't need to get it. I have another question coming from that journey. Okay, you started off. You never knew that you're gonna get this much of fame. So once you get that fame, once you've got this responsibility, you've got family, you've got people around. How do you handle that?
Again, this is my subjective opinion.
Okay.
Everyone deals with it differently. And that's why the first thing I said was, know who you are. Know what your wants in life are, what are your values. For me, I was a very, people don't believe it when I say this, but very underconfident. I was not a self-confident person because I did not know myself and I didn't accept myself for the longest time. So I wasn't, out there enjoying it or flashing things out, which again wasn't going to be my case.
Yeah.
But I turned on the humility meter a bit too hard. I'm being very reflective here.
Well, can you give an example?
It's when someone compliments you, the best way, even in a humble sense or a modest sense rather, would be just to say thank you and inside feel good about it. Not let it go to your head to the extent that you are better than anyone else, but to have something nice to offer.
Of course.
So one
Should
has
be
to
confident about it
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. So and that can only happen when you have a complete understanding of who you are. So my little daughter has taught me that you should love yourself, and
That's so sweet.
combining your definition of love in that is you accept your flaws and you accept your goodness as well. You accept the person knowing the flaws. So if I accept myself knowing my flaws, I know these are my weaknesses, these are quirks I have, but there's a good thing I have as well. And that's nice to live with yourself that way. I didn't have that. So when it came to fame, I was like a little awkward, very slightly awkward, but I felt as if I do this for them. So if someone comes to me and compliments me, thank you, and they want to take a selfie.
You feel good about it. That
Yes,
if people are applauding,
Exactly,
appreciating your
exactly.
work and all that. That's
for the ones I'm reaching out to. But I also, I'll give you a sneak peek though. I always try to find out and say, kaun si drama mein dekha yaar? What are you appreciating for?
Yeah.
And I do a cheeky thing. I should, but I kind of.
You need to know what sort of perspective do they have.
I kind of gauge the person according to what they like me for.
That's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice.
so if someone comes up and says, "Aapke mere bahut theatre dekhe," I was like, "That's that's right."
Okay, now coming towards all the young generation, I'll just talk about my university life. I'm a Arabian. I've done my BSc in applied management. Then I've been into LUMS and all the Tier 1 institutes. Then I've got different colleagues in Africa and US as well. So there is one thing that everyone in Pakistan specifically, for example, if someone wants to become an actor, they say that there is a monopoly going on. We are not going to get a chance. What do you think is this? Because I totally disagree. I'll be very honest. If you've got potential, you've got YouTube to go ahead and present your work. Like I'm presenting, like XYZs are presenting. I have a different niche totally because I'm working on career counseling and entrepreneurship, and this is my passion. So what would be the message for you? Because you've done certifications from Cambridge, right? When it comes to dramatics, then it wasn't like you a golden spoon that was fed in your mouth and you were like, okay, Omair Rana is going to go for Sangya Ma.
Far from it. Yeah.
Far from it. So what do you think, if someone is interested, what would be the right age to start that career and when to start thinking about it? Because parents disagree a lot of times.
Yeah.
For example, if a child is in A levels and he wants to pursue acting, so they would be like, actor banoge yaar. क्या जमाने में मुंह दिखाओगे, क्या कमाओगे, कैसे चांस मिलेगा, कौन
बेटी देगा,
तो मेरा मतलब कौन तुम्हें बेटी दे. तो what would be your message?
Okay, first quickly, unfortunately, like other certain steady careers that we have around us in Pakistan, acting doesn't have a stream. So for example, I wanted to become work for a multinational corporation for FMCG or something.
Yeah.
So I know we know these things, right? We've been in those same schools, in fact.
Yeah.
So I'll do my MBA, etc., and get my work experience, etc., and move that way. But if I want to go in medicine, it's very technically skillful. So that's an engineering and medicine, are very skillful. Lawyers would be something similar to us. So you know your career path. But as an actor or an artist or a director or a filmmaker or a scriptwriter, any of these creative, what is the streamline? You still have some streamline for artists with good, fantastic and established art schools. But you do not have many for us as actors specifically. So you've got TFT program in PNU, you've got NAPA doing
TFT and PNU.
So you've got the theatre from television. They're doing that. NCA does some bits of work. NAPA is doing a phenomenal work in acting training and schooling and etc. But you don't, beyond that you don't. So that is skill learning. Right? That's just skill learning. But the industry is more than just skill learning. The skill learning has to be done for, supply has to meet a demand, right? So our language.
Yeah.
So you have to understand what the demand is.
Yeah.
What is the market requiring? How does the market operate? What is the industry? I mean, the Chartered Accountants in Pakistan keeps a tab of how many chartered accountants there are, what's happening, so you supply it accordingly, etc., right? There's nothing of that sort. Pakistan, unfortunately, officially has not even legally and financially not identified entertainment as an industry. So I, as an actor, can open my account as an actor.
That's something you guys need to work on. Again, entrepreneurship comes towards that. Coming towards the end of the session, I spoke to you regarding career counseling and entrepreneurship. Because to become an entrepreneur, you need to take risks. And to take those risks, you need to know what you're interested in. For example, my father has a construction business. I'll just give you an example. And he asks me to go ahead and follow that. Why? Because you're the only child I have. And this happens in the society. Of course. So I've got no option left. I go there, I build those houses. What's going to happen in the long term is that since I was not interested in that from the very first place, people are going to start complaining about it. That when his father used to do the thing, I mean, they were fabulous houses. And he started, the switches are not working fine or whatever, XYZ things can happen. So that's the message to those parents out there as well, that first try to have a session. It's not necessary to have a career counselor, but if schools like, all of the schools can at least have one career counselor who can teach them or who can guide them and always be there for them, like in American schools and all that. I think this is something we need to work in Pakistan. So what do you think? Just one last thing.
Sorry, please.
So what do you think? How can we create more entrepreneurs? And in your industry particularly, because you've been working in different domains. So what do you think? Where can entrepreneurship help you guys out? As you just mentioned, that we are lacking this thing. So how to come up with the positive aspect and what's the solution of it?
Okay, there's a lot to unwrap this. Let me do a very bullet point. One, I've been a guidance counselor. I established it in Lahore Grammar School, JT. For me, the major issue in all schools and counselors that they do have is it's more of getting placements in universities. And that becomes a marketing tool more than service to the society.
Business,
So that I do not appreciate. I think that is an important thing to help facilitate. But the most important thing is the backward integration of that is to help the child understand what she or he has to offer, what are their intelligences, what can they pursue. So, and then the question is, what is the problem that you see in the world, and with your skills, how do you think you can solve it? And that will help you with the focus area of careers. So that's what they should do. Secondly, when it comes to entrepreneurship, I've had a serious issue with that. LUMS has been a phenomenal institution. I think they've been very well, they've been developing very well, but I clearly remember going to an orientation when I was planning to get into an undergrad there or postgrad there. And I said, you do not have modules of project management and entrepreneurship. So I feel as if, are you still churning out white-collar clerks for foreign companies? Because that's something I do not appreciate. I think there's so many people, not me, so many people I know who get so excited about enterprise, taking those risks, understanding what the market's like, what people want, and how they could help meet that. That's phenomenal. I mean, I can see the buzz that they have, right?
This is LUMS that you're talking about.
Yeah, but
graduates from LUMS.
That was back in the days. I'm sure they've done much better now.
Yeah.
But how do we help facilitate that? And I do know that the culture of entrepreneurship has picked up in the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
There was that thirst. And when economies go down in terms of employment, people like to be self-employed and create employment, which is brilliant. And they should do so. And entrepreneurship doesn't require you to have an MBA program, for example.
I mean, it's, for example, all the, talking about Bill Gates or any big example, George Washington Carver, and if you know about the American history, Pakistani history as well, to develop a certain mindset needs to have your passion.
Of course.
And you need to explore. Exposure is a word that I would like to use.
Absolutely.
If you don't have exposure,
then it doesn't work. And I'll borrow this word exposure in the end as well, because I still want to complete the acting career, of course. What you do require, and this is I'm borrowing again another word you said, the difference between a trader mindset and an entrepreneur mindset is something we need to learn.
Yes.
Opening a shop is not an entrepreneur.
Anyone can do that.
We can do that.
Yeah.
And linking it to the entertainment industry, this is one issue that I have. I think there's a lot of risk taken by creative people. And if you're in an industry which has creativity enriched in the base of it, like an IT company or us, it's sad to see that you don't have entrepreneurs, but you have lots of traders. Why do I say that? The buying houses, which is what the broadcasters, they would buy what we call software, which is programs. And they'd buy that software for 100 units, whatever dollars, dirhams, whatever, and then sell it for 200. And that's it. That's their profit, and they're done. They're satisfied. That is a trader mindset. An entrepreneur mindset goes for a long-run vision. They are more excited by taking risks. That's why you do not get new creative content. That is why there'll be
new and innovative content.
Innovative content.
Exactly.
You will not. There'll be one odd, and you can you imagine there's a lava waiting to burst out. That what we have done and we've done locally, internationally, where does that come from? It's from us, right?
Of course.
So we have the capability. It's risk averseness, which an entrepreneur cannot be. So it's just a trader mindset which thinks short. Now I won't go into the details of that, but finally, in terms of career and then the acting aspect, there are 4 things that I recommend that everyone has to need in life. All of us. We look for security. And this is research based. So any sense of security, if I do not have a sense of security, I do not feel successful.
I'm not going to self-evaluate myself, right? Because I would be into that zone that.
True, but security can be tapped from anything. You know, in our society, लड़कियों को कहा जाता है मर्द से security लो. We find sense of security with a bank balance or a house of our own or asset, whatever. You need a sense of security, right? But without fulfillment, security alone will not be good enough. So you need a sense of fulfillment. You need to enjoy what you're doing. Entrepreneurs love taking those risks. I mean, Samina and the other two, the lady Naila, they just mounted this peak in K2. Why? Because it gives them that fulfillment. So we do work with fulfillment. Now, if I have security and I have fulfillment, but I feel powerless. I don't feel I'm growing. You know, I feel as if I'm not good enough. I'm still not going to be successful. So I need a self-worth and growth. You need that. So you need security, fulfillment, and power. Having said that, if I work, because we're social animals, if I'm surrounded by people that I'd rather not hang out with ever in my life, I will not be feeling successful. So I need what? Security, fulfillment, power, and harmony. Careers that can help you towards achieving security, fulfillment, power, and harmony, help you towards that. Then you should definitely go for those. And I'm secure enough. I mean, I like this new term that I found from Jeremy Peterson. He says you need optimal poverty. And I love that line. That's middle class, or, you know, it's something that George Bernard Shaw would say you'd have the middle class morality. So you need that optimal poverty, at least. And then you need that fulfillment. You need a sense of self-worth and power. You need to have harmony with people. If any profession can help you do that, why not? So I'm going to ask you to answer that question, but I'll still connect the final dot for the acting career later.
Before I ask you a question, the last question, I just want to mention 2 quotes here. One is from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said that there are 3 kinds of people. The first category is who talk about ideas, and they're the best ones, and I agree. Second is who talk about events. For example, okay, I went to the Hum TV Awards and they were okay, so they're going to get some benefit out of it because there is some positive criticism associated with it. the last category in which I'm not going to use the word Pakistan, but a lot of other countries as well. We guys talk about people. So just focus on the word innovation. Talking about the Mongol Empire when Genghis Khan used to rule, there were 3 strategies. One was planning, the second one was adaptability, and the third one was terror. Based on which they knew how to occupy most of the Asian continent.
Yeah.
So if you are supposed to conquer the world, you need to have strategies. And we are lacking that planning because we don't have our basics right.
Yeah.
Second thing is that I was listening to Junoon as well, thanks to Ali Azmat and Salman and all those people who bought that Sufism and a little bit of patriotic, Junoon se and all that. But एक इकबाल का उसमें एक शेर था जिसमें था जी खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. We need to focus on these things. We need to have those mentors. And apart from those Minar Pakistan incidents and the TikToks, whatever, I'm not going to use the word rubbish, but sometimes it is.
No, they're rubbish.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so that's what
I'll use it.
I don't want to offend anyone, but
No,
the point is, if you're doing something, selfies is not the only thing. Try to come up with positive content. If you and me can do that, 10 other people in our neighborhood can do that. The society is going to be, eventually, this is how you start, right? I mean, if you're supposed to develop an ocean, it's going to be drop by drop. So this is my analysis. And last question, Omair, I mean, coming towards the end, what would be your advice to the youth if they want to apply for an acting career or a career where you have been in past? Like, I think you're known mostly for example, as a human excellence consultant. Just in those bullet points, if you'd like to, and the advice that you would be giving to the people, instead of following the government or relying on, if you've got talent and if you think you're the leader, just try to come up with that passion. Just try to create the change in society.
Yeah.
And eventually, and then you need to think about one thing as well, that payoffs, it's going to take some time.
Of course.
So what would be your message towards the end?
Oh, we get bombarded a lot by Mujhe bhi chance hai, I want to be an actor.
Yeah.
Because there's no streaming structure.
Yeah.
There's certain things I say to them, I'll be repeating here. One, again, go back, understand who you truly are. Be to thine own self, be true, as the bard would say. Be honest. Do you have a talent or not? I mean, everyone can act. But everyone is not an actor. So there has to be a difference to that, and you have to accept that. So if you can work, but even if you are an actor, you still have to work and learn, right? So learn and learn, relearn. So you have to work on that. And secondly, if you're an actor, then just act. I mean, find those opportunities to do whatever.
Yeah.
You've got some people in colleges and schools and high schools and universities, but just friends. What we did, Real Entertainment Productions, my company, which has done more than 150, 60 plays now, started off by 5 of us just getting together and said, you know what, let's put up a play. That's how it started in 2000. And we said, okay. And we did that. I did not know that 22 years later I'm still going to be associated with that name. But we did, and we kept rolling and kept happening because it's all I could do. And then everyone just needs to do that. Get together and create one. And put it up wherever you want. You've got now avenues somewhere or the other. Just be creative. Put it up for your friends, as kids, and whatever. दोस्तों की छत पे कर लो यार.
ये आपने अपने आप को satisfy करना है ना. It's not necessary to become a star. I mean, Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, all these were what?
True.
Eventually, they started off with something.
True.
And what I like about all those actors, even you, is that you guys have a certain unique domain.
Yeah.
I mean, since you've mentioned that you're an actor working in learning and training sector specifically, so try to know what sort of acting are you good at, and then create your market. Go to different theaters and do that. I think it was a very good discussion. Man, anything that you'd like to add on before we end it?
I would like to add on the reality of what the industry of acting is like. Okay. So if anyone's getting in there, मैं चाहता कि मुझे ये बता दें कि देखो मैं, you have talent, you're really good, but like any other industry, it's a cutthroat industry, like any other industry. So if you want to get in there and grow, what will you need to do? One, you will need to keep working. You will need to just get a good profile going, get networking going. That's going to help you. Networking works in acting because it doesn't have any structure.
Yeah.
Third, you will have to understand that how your pay will be this scale, and then eventually maybe sometime will climb up. Fourth, unless you are an A-star, you can't survive on this money alone. There are no royalties and residuals, unfortunately.
Side hustle is important.
You will have to. And you have to know how you can do that. don't get married too soon, buddy. If you're going to raise a family, be careful
Yeah.
because you'll have to pay bigger bills. So you'll have to be able to navigate those things as practically as realistic as possible. 5, unfortunately, very sadly, the great hub of acting now is Karachi. So you have to relocate. And
I
be
see.
able to
Karachi
do so.
is a place
That's
where
what
you
it
can
is.
find a lot of
Pakistan,
talent.
you get more possibilities there.
I see.
And see how you can rub right shoulders and work with the right manners and see get that exposure and place yourself. Essentially, you consider yourself as a bit of a brand. See where the market is and where would you place your brand, your pricing, your promo, and the packaging, all the P's that you can work with that.
Perfect.
And that could be the final P. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, the P's in marketing. I mean,
So
all
yeah,
the strategies
that perfect
that
would be that final.
Perfect would be, and then create your own SWOT analysis just to evaluate yourself. I think that's a very good way of doing. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What opportunities do I have? And what are my threats?
True. And if you want to get in there, and I always say this to everyone, if you get into anything in life with the intent to get from it, you're going to be miserable. But if your intent is what your contributions are going to be, what your role is going to be, no matter what you do, you'll be fine with it. So if you're getting into acting, that I want to be famous, I want to have money,
Which 99% of the times happens.
then you might become very miserable. But if you're there like, this is who I am, this is my language, this is how I work.
Explore your interests. If you're interested in that, you're going to find your way.
Like an entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
So they would do that as well. So that's how they would work. Unfortunately, and again I'm going to be crudely real, the industry is now looking at very superficial numbers. If you've got how many followers on Facebook, on Insta, on TikTok, your popularity supersedes your talent.
I understand.
That's the sad part. So we're in that superficial consumer.
Yeah, it's the sad part, but again, don't stop trying. I mean, this is how you guys go ahead. They were ordinary people.
But go in there with these things in mind.
The reason I was giving your example that you started as an executive management trainee at PC. You never knew that you would end up doing a lot of these things, even though you've got a very good educational background. So I think, thank you so much, Omair, for joining in today's session. And I think for youth out there, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Youth Alumni Association. Why? Because it's eventually going to be good for you guys, and try to spread the word as well, and get something out of it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Omair.
Thank you much. Thank you.